Welcome to our series, Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin on Two Luckies,
the podcast. This is a series where we rewatch Little House on the Prairie, a show that we loved when we were kids, and we give our perspective on it as adults.
As adults, and I must say, watching it as an adult has been very different.
It's been extremely different, and we found out that their plots tend to have three main categories. They are either dying,
They're crying,
or they are lying.
Lying.
And we figured out that they have 2 out of the 3 categories every episode. So if you want to know what it's like to sit in the car with us and have us tell you a story with categories, you're about to find out. So buckle up. Here we go. For Two Luckies, the podcast presents Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin. Season 2, episode 18, The Long Road Home. We find ourselves in some kind of a city. It's a very busy place. Charles found out that while his bumper crop he was all excited about was now the part of everybody else's bumper crop, which tanked the prices, and now they cannot cover what they borrowed to pay for the seeds. So Mr. Cash on the Barrelhead had been borrowing again, and we're going to call this continual Lyin, because he keeps saying cash on the barrelhead and he keeps borrowing money, and that just doesn't seem to equate to us. They end up looking for some other work and find a very dangerous job. So this is Charles and Mr. Edwards. They find a very dangerous job that for 10 days worth of work, which they just spent a whole season growing stuff and not come up with enough money. For 10 days worth of work, they'll get $100 each, right? It's not $100. It's not $100 to split between them. It's $100 each for 10 days because they're going to be transporting by wagon over bumpy ground blasting oil. And blasting oil is more dangerous. We're informed by this guy who's holding up the wall over there listening to everybody talking, that this blasting oil is the kind of thing that you hit one bump and it will blow you to kingdom come and back again. And now Mr. Edwards really didn't want to do this. He was looking very reluctant to do this. And Charles said, well, I've worked with dynamite before. Sign us up. And they both end up signing up. And this is really looking like it's going to be a problem.
It's going to be dicey, that's for sure. But, like you said, it looks like Mr. Edwards was voluntold.
He was.
This is becoming a common theme.
This is a common theme. People getting voluntold, which is the way you say of them getting volunteered, where they're actually really being told what to do. But now Mr. Edwards is not happy about this at all. They go back home to tell their families, get supplies, and then be able to catch the Springfield train on Saturday at 6 o'clock, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then Charles goes back home, and Ma's lie detector was going bingity bing bing.
Bing, bing.
Oh boy, it was binging because she was all excited to see him. He was back home, and then now she's looking into his eyes, and you could see that she's seeing something he's not saying. But she said, how did it go? And he said, oh, pretty good. And we know that's a Lyin. It went terrible. He didn't make enough money to pay back the seed that he borrowed, let alone make a profit at all to help them live for the winter. And then he says, he tells her about this $100 for 10 days and I'll only be gone for 2 weeks. And he tells her it's some kind of railroad freighting job because they got a lot of money and they're just going to throw their money around. But he never speaks specifically, and she asks him a couple of times.
Yeah, why are they paying $100 for 2 weeks?
She really wants to know, and it's a valid question. But instead he says, you know how railroads are. They just have a lot of money to throw around. And we know that's a Lyin because you have the potential to be dying over this 10 days while you're doing this job. And she had a feeling, but nothing he said went with what they were feeling. And now we are looking at Mr. Edwards very solemnly talking to Grace, who has set him up very well, actually, with all the supplies he needs and all the clean clothing he's going to need and the food he's going to need. But she very much looks like she has been told the actuality of what this job is, where Ma and
true. I mean,
right. I feel that Grace looks like solemn and nervous, and she's trying her best to keep a stiff upper lip. But Ma was explicitly lied to by Charles.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
They haven't really explained whether she does know yet or not, but we're going to find out.
Well, they haven't told us, but just looking at Grace's face, I mean, but you could see that Ma was definitely seeing something in Charles's eyes that was saying, hold on a second, there's more to the story than what you're telling me.
Well, we definitely learned something about the difference between Mr. Edwards and Mr. Ingalls.
Yes.
Mr. Edwards actually said goodbye to the whole family and even had the little one, Alicia, come running out after him after he took off across his field. Then we get over to the Chaz residence, and he comes out of the house, and Ma's already standing there kind of looking a little misty-eyed, and she asked him, did you get to say goodbye to the girls? And, no, I didn't want to wake him. The Sandman got him. Man, you're about to haul explosives and possibly blow up, and you didn't even say goodbye to your
we
kids.
were shocked. We really, what do you mean they're still sleeping?
But, thank goodness the writers came through for us again, because as he's hugging Ma and saying goodbye, she starts crying. And boy, would she be crying if she knew what he was actually doing.
She really doesn't know. And when she ends up talking to Grace, she may find out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big deal. Like, I can't believe he left without saying goodbye. He didn't even try to wake them up.
Yeah. So they're both walking and they're both on their way to catch the train.
Ooh, Charles's decision and voluntolding all this stuff has gotten them into quite a situation. They show up walking for the train after it's already in motion. So now they're running.
They're late. They
are running on the ties. They're running holding their hats. They're running, and Charles almost falls off after he even grabs onto the end. They pull themselves up and they get into this really lavish car. It's all, decked out and looking nice.
President's car.
And they sit down and think that they're going to get to sit there because they were supposed to have transport included with this job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they get sent, nope. Get out of here, wrong car. They go to the next car, which is less, but it's still nice. It's still warm.
Less pimped out, but still.
It's still warm. And then they get said, no, go. They are
next
on
car.
An open
flat car.
They're on an open flat car, open to the element. They're freezing. Then they come up with a plan.
Mr. Edwards there. Hey, what if we take some of this firewood in? We'll start a fire and then we can stay and be warm. But unfortunately, the conductor wasn't having any of that.
He was too busy reading his newspaper, and he was like, well, that's very nice of you, but you still have to go back out there. They were not happy. They threw the wood. They just threw it on the floor, and then they go back out. And so I'm like, how long is this train ride? Because then they show them under some kind of a tarp or something or canvas, and it's pouring rain. And then the next time you see it, they do a cut, and it's bright sunshine. I was like, what are they on this thing for days?
It could be.
Well, they end up meeting a wagon, and the guy tells them, okay,
hurry
you're
up.
Doing this job, hurry up. So there were 4 of them on this flat car, including Pa and Mr. Edwards. They get off of the flat car and find out that they have another hour on the wagon ride.
Uh-huh. They're like, what's going on? There's nothing around here within 100 miles. Why is there a factory so far away? Well, we had one in San Francisco, but a case of nitro blew up.
Well, and it killed 12 people and leveled a city block. So this stuff is an intense amount. I mean, that was just a case of nitro. Mm-hmm. They're doing a wagon of nitro, right?
Yeah, I think it's 2 wagons, actually.
Okay, but they're going to be in charge of at least 1 wagon full of cases of this stuff, and 1 case did that level of damage at their other factory. So now they're building in the middle of nowhere, figuring that at least... If
it goes, it won't kill.
Everyone will stay alive
innocent.
except for whoever. Right, innocent people won't be involved. But oh my goodness, this is it's going to be shaping up.
Oh yeah.
Poor Mr. Edwards. He said, "I really feel like I'm going to be regretting getting off of this car."
We're at the barn now, and we're seeing exactly what this job entails. And this guy pulls back this tarp and pulls out this vial of this. It looked like water. But he said what the components of it were, and it was a 6-ounce vial. And said if that 6-ounce vial were to explode, that whole barn would be turned to kindling. They're each hauling 5 gallons.
5 gallons!
Can you imagine that?
5 gallons, they would never find a piece of them anywhere at any time.
So remember, we had 4 of them, right? one of them said, no, I'm not going to do it. And it's funny, he said he wasn't willing to die just for himself. He didn't have a family. The rest of them had a family. He didn't. But I'm not willing to die for myself. So it turns out this guy had somebody on reserve already. But when we're introduced to him, we find out the guy that's left is a bit racist. Let's just call it.
Yeah, the guy who they were friends. The
was...
one whose friend decided not to do it because he wasn't married, didn't have any children. He leaves, and now this guy that's left from that team is now facing where he's very racist, and the guy that is the one who's filling in has done this 12 times.
12 times.
He said he knows more about blasted oil than almost anybody out. I mean, they have to take temperatures, they have to fill in holes and do rocks. He knows the route. I actually think they're better off having this guy is experienced. He knows where they're going. He knows what they're doing. Charles likes him instantly.
Oh, yeah.
You could see that Charles just likes him instantly, but this other guy who's actually going to be teamed up with him is very upset about this turn of circumstances, and he's just being stupid. But
I say it is better for them, for all of them, really, that he's there, having that much knowledge, and I know just how this is going to go. It's not just going to be smooth sailing. They're crossing some pretty rough terrain.
And they're going up and down hills too. But I mean, I just think I am surprised that they were going to send out 4 people who had never done this before. In teams of 2, they were going to send them out on a route they've never been on, doing a job they've never done with just they said you'll be taught how to take the temperatures and how to cool the vials down, because the temperature is very important to the volatility and the explosiveness of this stuff. And they were literally going to send out 4 people that didn't know anything about anything. This turn of events, having somebody who's so experienced fill in is a really good thing.
Yeah, so let's see how it goes for him.
Yeah, this other guy's just not getting it. Well, Charles is sitting there writing a letter to Mom and sending her an insurance policy. Each person who's going on this trip gets a $5,000 insurance policy in case they do end up meeting God way faster than they ever intended.
Kind of tells you how serious it is, huh?
Yes, and I feel bad for Mr. Edwards because they finally do talk about whether or not he's able to write, and Charles ends up writing a letter for him to Grace, and he was a little nervous about dictating what he wanted to say. And while he was doing that, the guy with experience comes in. His name is Henry.
Henry Hill.
And he comes in and he is talking to them, saying that he was going to be collecting the letters because now they're going to be sending these letters with the policies back home because their families are going to need these just in case.
In case.
Hopefully not. And Mr. Edwards offers him coffee, and Henry says, well, I'll go get my cup. He was so surprised that he was not made to go get his own separate cup. He was given a cup that they were using. He was invited to sit down with them, which he seemed surprised about. They had conversation asking about this and how he's doing all of these different trips and why he was doing such a dangerous job. He has no children, Henry, but he has a lot of extended family, aunts and uncles and things like that. And he's been supporting them by doing 12 trips so far before this one of this very dangerous job. So he made $1,200 doing this.
Yeah, and I think he did say, God willing, this will be his last trip.
Yeah,
so.
But at a time where 7
13.
cents a bushel for, their crop, I mean, this is a massive amount of money back then. So he's doing a really good thing for his family.
And might I also bring up, we almost missed a category because Chaz did say while he was writing his letter and telling Mr. Edwards that he had to send the insurance policy home, all he told him was, I just told her, it's just in case, because it's the railroad, just put it away and don't worry about it. And we're going to call that
Lyin.
She still doesn't know that he's
Well, it's a big deal.
Oil.
Put it away.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it away. I mean, they won't even have anything of you to put away if she needs this.
Boom. Well, they're off.
They're off.
They're leaving the property. And we got one guy in front who's got a shovel in his hand, who's got to move rocks and make sure that he can fill any kind of holes and keep the path as smooth as possible. So the first team, we have Henry Hill was driving the wagon, and the hired hand, he was the guy out front.
They're the racist guy.
Yep. And then we got the Chaz, Mr. Edwards team. Chaz is driving, Mr. Edwards out front. And when they show these crates that they're carrying, you've got like one of these vials that's surrounded by all of this straw and like a square box. And
I mean, but they didn't even pack the straw in. Like they wiggle around. Like
they're showing
this stuff moving.
They're showing this wagon kind of. They're moving slow, obviously, but every little nick and bump, and these vials are like doing this jig in there. It's like, wow, now I know where OSHA came from.
Yeah, I mean, the guy opened the gate, he let them go, and he said, God go with you. And I thought, yep, because he's not going with this guy that's standing there opening the gate isn't going with him. He didn't want any part of it.
Yeah, so as they're traveling, they come across a fallen tree across the trail, and it's a big tree, and we find out they don't have a cross-cut saw, which made us ask, why wouldn't you send somebody out to make sure at least that the trail is clear, because they are going quite a distance, right?
This is 10, it's 10 days.
So they end up unhitching the horses, so we have 2 horses per wagon, so we got 4 horses, and they're going to use them to drag these wagons up this big hill to get around where this tree had fallen. And somehow the math didn't quite add up because we had 2 and 2 originally while they're pulling up Mr. Edwards and Chaz's wagon, and then when it came time to get Henry Hills and the racist guy, it was just the 2 of them. With
and
4 horses.
So how?
We're guessing that Mr. Edwards and Chaz didn't want to be anywhere near that.
I mean, but they could have at least helped. There were 4 men pulling up the first wagon, and then there were 4 horses, but there was only the 2 guys pulling up the other wagon, or maybe they didn't want to lose time.
But I will say,
no, but they had. How would they? They couldn't pull it without the horses.
No, they
something
couldn't.
didn't make sense. Maybe they just didn't think about it.
But the writers certainly are dancing around this subject of the old Dyin. They certainly are dancing around it, huh?
It's been the theme from the beginning, really, when they were at the hiring hall and finding out that there was only 2 dangerous jobs left.
Yeah, so they still got a long way to go, so let's see how it
they just got started.
Up.
Now, Grace works at the post office, and she's married to Mr. Edwards, and she gives a stack of mail to Ma, which I was thinking postal regulations much, but she gave a stack of letters to Ma to look through to see if there was any news from either one of them. And she finds the letter from Isaiah, which is Mr. Edwards, and she was tickled pink that there was a letter because she knows he's learning how to read, but writing has been problematic for him, and she knows he can't write. But so she knew that Charles must have written a letter. She was just so excited when she got this letter that she forgot to look for one for Ma, which is what the whole reason why she pulled out this pile, because she wasn't expecting anything from the man that she knows was unable to write. And then when they finally get their letters, they open them up and they see the policies, and we find out that the writer snuck one in on us. We were wrong in the beginning because Mr. Edwards had been a lion. He told Grace that this was just a simple freighting job, and not that he could end up meeting God way quicker than anybody ever intended. And now they're both looking at each other shocked. I mean, what a horrible way to find out.
Yeah, that was kind of messed up.
That really was. And then Ma is there putting the girls to bed. Carrie has been absent this entire episode.
No Carrie report.
This is no Carrie report. This is the first time we're seeing Mary and Laura. They're in bed. They got their bonnets on. They're ready to go to sleep. And they're waiting for news from Charles. And what does Ma do? A whole heap and helping of Lyin. She says everything's fine. She starts to read the letter, and then she edits like real time very slowly because she's trying to figure out what she can say and what she can't say. We think she just came up with her own stuff, which was another Lyin. And she keeps telling the girls that everything's great, everything's going to be fine, which she doesn't feel that way at all. And the girls are so relieved to hear that everything is all right.
You know, I can understand they're trying to, I don't want anybody to worry, but come on. And old Chaz, I still got to go back and say, you couldn't even say goodbye to your kids?
I mean, he could have at least said goodbye to them, and now they didn't get to see him leave, and then he potentially may never come back at this point. That's where they're leading us with this whole story.
But the writers are sure bringing it out, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're pressing those buttons for us.
Well, one of the things that they said might be a problem with this whole trip was the temperature of the oil. Thank goodness they have this Henry Hill with them, because he was actually smart enough to stick a thermometer and see what was going on, and finds out that the temperature is a rising. They have one heck of a pickle, because I guess they were carrying water just to use to cool these vials down. Unfortunately, and we finally found out, the other guy that's with Henry Hill, his name's Murphy. Murphy left the spigot open on the water barrel and they lost most of their water. So now he's kind of antsy about that. But old Chaz comes up, and of course he's got extra water that he can lend a hand. But this guy Murphy is just, he's bothered through the whole trip because he really doesn't want to work with this guy Henry. But they go and get the water. They're trying to coordinate the trip, and he says there's a well up ahead about 5 miles. And as they're going along this path, because they're so far ahead now they can't see him, he leaves a note and says, the well's dry, take it slow to the next watering hole. So, yeah, things are looking kind of sketchy.
Yay, Mr. Edwards,
Yay,
because when
Mr.
he
Edwards.
found this big piece of paper stuck on this post, he picked it up and he said, well, I see the word road, so he's doing good with his reading.
He was able to read
In
something.
the middle of all this tension, we had a little bright spot because Mr. Edwards doing good with all his learning how to read, because before this he hadn't been reading.
Yeah, so considering all things, I guess the fact that they're still going is a good sign.
Well, and I was proud of Charles for yelling at Murphy for being racist.
He laid
because,
into
my
him.
gosh, I mean, he was going on and on and on about Henry is the problem with this country and men like him and all this other stuff. And that's when Charles grabbed him and said, the problem with this country, I'm looking at it. Because, I mean, my gosh, just please.
Yeah. That's just ignorance.
It is.
After some very slow travel, they finally happened upon a big body of water. Well, I say big, it kind of looked like a pond, but I guess to them it's almost like looking at an ocean, right? Because they have all this water now, so they're parked down by the water, and Chaz is filling up the crates, and everybody's happy. They're even taking baths.
Yeah, they have soap and everything. And Mr. Edwards, Charles, and Henry are hanging out together. They're laughing. They're playing in the water. They got their feet in the water, and their, pants are rolled up.
And just when you think things are going well, all of a sudden you hear a pew! There's 2 men up on horses with rifles in their hand, and guess what they're looking to do? Steal it.
They are looking to take these new wagons and good horses and good rope. And they don't know what's in there, in these jugs or vials or whatever it is that they're looking at, but they're very interested in stealing it. And Mr. Edwards weaves a tale of Lyin that was very entertaining because he goes up there and says, you know what? Take it away from me. I can't stand it anymore. And he takes out what
a vial.
He looks like a vial. It's the same glass shape. It's got the cork stopper on the top of it. And he's trying to shove it at them, telling them that what's in the wagons is enough to blow down the whole state. It's making him shake. And he's throwing it from hand to hand, this glass vial. And they got so worried about blowing up that they actually turned around and left.
Blow it off.
But when he turns back around to everybody that he's been doing this, whole job with, they look like they're sweating. Like, what are you doing? And that guy Murphy comes running up. Stop, because now he's all excited. He's doing his, he's singing and he's doing a little dance, Mr. Edwards, and he's throwing this vial around. And this guy is freaking out. Murphy is freaking out. Like, we're going to die.
And what do we find
Mr.
out?
Edwards laughs and says, this is corn whiskey. I distilled it myself. And he opens the cap and he gives it to Murphy and says, here, you need this more than I do. And he actually takes a swig of it. But for some reason, he had the same exact.
Yeah, same
How is
exact.
that?
Right down to the stop. Unless they had extra ones at the barn.
Or maybe
and
it was a common
poured
way.
it from a.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I don't know, but somehow he got a vial of it and put his own corn whiskey in it, and this guy was freaking out. He had so much that he actually took a sip of it.
But I gotta say, the writers they're bringing it.
They are, and the people who were trying to rob them said they're just lying about the contents of the wagon, but they were not lying. This was some serious stuff, and even though it was expensive and they probably could have gotten money for it, they probably would not have survived the trip of bringing it anywhere because they wouldn't have known all these special things that they had to do and to pour water in the straw and all that other stuff. They show us back at the little house, and Ma's coming in, looked like she was getting a pail of water. But I don't know where she was, but she was gone long enough that she comes into a whole mess on the table. There's cracked eggshells that are laying around. There's flour all over the place. And she starts yelling at the girls as she starts cleaning up, and she's very upset. And they were hiding around the corner. We have a Carrie report. She's got flour and some kind of chocolate on her face because the girls had been making a cake. So Ma was gone long enough for them to make an entire cake, cook it, cool it, because it has to be cool to frost it, because it had frosting on it and a candle, which where they got the candle, who knows?
Who knows?
But they come out of the room with the cake and they say, happy birthday. She forgot her own birthday, and when she sees that they had remembered, she starts crying. We knew they had to leave us with something because everyone stayed alive, which was a good thing. We want everybody to stay alive, but they've been flirting with this Dyin for a while. But now she was like, oh my gosh, I forgot all about it. So she was so worried. She forgot her own birthday. Her husband missed her birthday after he left without saying goodbye to their children. And then at least we got to see Carrie there.
Yeah, we had the Carrie report.
Yeah, and Laura lit a match right in front of mine, didn't get yelled at, so they're growing up.
And then we find out that they successfully made the trip.
Yay!
They had 2 days of easy country. They're getting ready to get back on the train, and this time they have money in their pockets. Hey, we're going to ride in style. Well, guess what? This is still 1870 whatever, and Henry Hill was not allowed to ride in the car.
Well, and Henry said, we'll see, because they were like, oh, we're going to ride in style. You'll see, it's really nice. And Henry already knew it. He was like, we'll see. They sat down. It was that same grumpy conductor from when they went out, for the beginning of the trip. And he says, not him. So Henry got sent to that open air car.
The flat car.
He just left. They tried to protest, but I mean, Charles and Mr. Edwards just really didn't seem to get it that at this time period, he was not allowed to ride in the car.
Right.
Well, they end up going out there with him. I mean, they walked out, and then Murphy comes out, and they're like,
everybody's looking surprised now.
They're all looking at him.
Him?
Well, he got a taste of his own medicine because that conductor kicked him out because he found out that Murphy was Irish. So he kicked him out of the car for being Irish. So he had a little of his own racism put back on him. And now they were all sitting out there. And while they're all slapping their knees, laughing at how funny that was the end of the episode.
And we got the Chaz chuckle.
We got the Chaz chuckle a couple of times in this episode. We did. He was chuckling quite a bit because he was chuckling when he was writing the letter to send home.
We had the smirk. Smirk with the letter.
The smirk and the letter. Well, we even had the chuckle then too.
And we had the season 1 shirt.
We had that season 1 shirt, but he was wearing a jacket the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, so we had a whole bunch of Lyin, we had Cryin, and we had them flirting with Dyin the whole time, and then they left flirting at the altar because everyone stayed alive.
But they certainly brought it to us.
They did.
So make sure you join us for the next episode, which is called For My Lady.
Well, we'll find out what this one's about because these titles are not helping me at all. Even though I knew I had seen this one before, but like the titles just don't seem to be helping me.
We'll see.
Well, we'll see.
And that concludes this episode on Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin on Two Luckies.
Two Luckies,
the podcast.
We release these weekly, and there's a whole bunch of them out already, so go check them out.
We'll see you the next time.
We're out.
Two Luckies, the podcast.
Two Luckies, the podcast. Two Luckies, the podcast. Woohoo! You stayed!
You made it to the end.
Here's your fun fact.
Fun fact for today. The guy who played Henry Hill was actually Louis Gossett Jr. And if you don't know that name, go watch Officer and a Gentleman. Mayonnaise.
Well, he was in that movie, yeah.
He did a great job.
He did. He did a great job in this episode, too.
So thanks for staying with us.
Thanks for staying. We appreciate you.